How you doing? I want to talk to you today briefly about fear. It is definitely the antithesis of transformation because if you're steeped in fear, it's going to be hard for you to grow and move up and move through some things and even improve your life, right? So, welcome to the channel of transformation for Black women through healthy living. Welcome, welcome. Come right on in. I want you to sit down and get comfortable. Listen up if you're driving. I just want you to lend an ear and some thoughts to this very important topic of fear, and more importantly, some steps we can take to overcome the fear, right? Because we don't want to stay in a fear mode, right? But before I get too deep off into the subject, please like, subscribe, share, and definitely comment on this channel. Help me grow it. Um, and thank you for those of you that have subscribed and do listen in on a regular. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And share it, distribute it, and get the word out, right? Because we want to experience the necessary transformation in our lives, enabling us to grow. And we can't do that, as the topic would suggest, if we're steeped in fear. Some say that fear is the acronym for false evidence appearing real. Well, sometimes fear is real, right? It's not false evidence. You may have cause for pausing if you're like I was and going down a very, very dark road one night, and this was before the coming of cell phones. And I was en route across state lines, didn't know where I was going. I had a map, but that's all I had. And it was very dark. I managed, but it was very dark, and I started to get a little bit concerned. So sometimes fears are false. Sometimes you have reason to pause, not to let the fear overtake you, but you have reasons to be concerned. Let's just say it like that, right? So the first thing I want you to do as we talk about the fear is you want to identify the fear, whatever it is. It's a fear of flying. It's a fear of asking your boss for the raise. If it's a fear for asking your bestie for a favor. It's a fear of telling a new black woman that you would like to have her as your friend. If it's a fear of giving childbirth, whatever your concern is, you want to first identify, why am I feeling apprehensive? Why am I feeling these thoughts? Because that leads us into number two. You want to confront negative thoughts when they show up, right? You don't just want to let them fester or linger or be just ever present without challenging the negative thoughts, right? I want to refer you to a YouTube video. Dr. Jewel Pookrum is in with Black Magic 363, and she's talking about a 2024 message to humanity. And in that video, she talks about what fear does to us and how it just releases chemical things in our body that is not good for the body. So we really have to work on this fear piece, right? So we have to confront those negative thoughts. Number three, you want to educate yourself about whatever that fear is. What is it? What is the thing that you're afraid of? What is caused this fear in you? What has caused this fear to be in existence? How does it affect you? You know, um, you start to ask these critical, quick, key questions, right? Um, and then once you do, you can start on a path to take small steps to diminish the fear, right? And that brings us into number four, which is several things under number four. And we're going to talk about solutions, right? There are practices, certain practices that you can take to begin to diminish the fear, okay? Let's try some deep breathing. A lot of times when we're afraid of something, if we see something like a bird suddenly fly out in front of us, we didn't know what the first thing we do is we catch our breath, right? But to thwart the fear, you want to practice deep breathing, okay? A lot of times we practice shallow breathing when we're afraid, or we just kind of hold our breath for a few seconds and stop breathing off. So we're going to counteract that, and to relax ourselves, we're going to deep breathing. Anytime we feel anxious or afraid or stressed, leading to the fear, thinking about the fear, being in the center of the fear, we're going to practice deep breathing, right? Something that also might works because it's kind of like a space holder and get your mind off of the thing that is feared is to count. 1001, 1002, 1003. And you start focusing on the counting rather than the thing that you're afraid of. So that's an option that you may consider. The other one is meditation. You want to see the thing that you're afraid of. In meditation, you want to see you conquering that thing. Getting over that thing, interacting with that thing with ease, with poise, with grace, with beauty. You want to practice patience with yourself through this process. And the final thing you want to do, and this is all under solutions, is you want to be consistent in your practice of overcoming that thing that you're afraid of, right? I got a new acronym for you, right? Instead of false evidence appearing real, let's turn it around, okay? And you can steal this from me, that's fine. We're going to turn that acronym around to fear, but we're going to turn it around to following every artsy road. And you ask, Abena, what's following every artsy road mean? That means that you're going to creatively look at your fear and you're going to begin to see it from a different light, a different perspective, a more creative approach to bringing some resolution so that you can overcome the fear. How beautiful is that, right? Isn't that an artsy road? Again, we're going to turn that acronym around to following every artsy road. That's what fear is going to mean from now on. Following every artsy road. Ooh, I love that. I coined that, right? That's kind of neat. I like that. Following every artsy road, as opposed to thinking how bad the thing is that you're afraid of. Now you have flipped it. We have flipped it. We're going to look at following every artsy road to the point where we're going to look at that thing from a different angle, a different perspective, a different way of being, a different way of interacting with it. And we're going to be on the path to overcoming that thing that we're afraid of. That's a great thing, right? Let me get back to that piece that I started when I was telling you about how I drove and I was in this dark place. What I did as a solution to overcoming that fear when I got, my intuition was telling me I was off track. You know, I just had a map, didn't have GPSs, didn't have cell phones then. Uh, if you can remember such a time. um, but when I got in a lighted area, I called my friend and I was able to connect with him, and he assured me that it was smart for me to turn around, so the intuition was spot on, and I was able to meet my friend miles and miles and states away from my original home. So as opposed to freaking out, I was in the car by myself. It was dark. I had to come up with a solution that worked for me and that allowed me to get to my destination, right? So, in that, I'll leave you with some things to ponder on how we can look at fear differently. Always, always go for the win win. A win for you and a win for me, we'd have a much better wear, right? And you have my permission. Matter of fact, give yourself permission to be fearless today. All right. Peace and riches of blessings. We'll talk soon.